Hi, thank you so much for having me here. All right, today I want to talk about my parents in general. So my parents, I live in a very strict household, you see. And as a teenager growing up, it sucks to live in a very strict household because I cannot explore new things. It's really hard for me to take a risk. And let's talk about teenagers real quick. Teenagers are probably the most confusing stage of life because you are expected to act like an adult, but at the same time, your parents cannot stop treating you like children. So I was mostly confused in that household because my parents set a lot of rules. And I'll name some of the examples of those rules. I'm not allowed to go out as much as my friends. That means if I were to go out, I have to be home before my father does. I've never gone for a sleepover, and when all of my friends got their first phone, I didn't get it until 5 years later. So I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, and basically the point what I'm trying to say is that I don't have so much freedom back at home. I remember one day screaming at my mother, and I told her, you know what, you're ruining my life, and I cannot live like this. It's my body, it's my own choices. Aren't we living in the right of John's law, life, liberty, and property? Because I didn't get that. And then let's fast forward to right now. And 3 weeks ago, I was brushing my teeth in the bathroom, and one hand I was scrolling through WhatsApp, and my mom sent me a bunch of pictures of herself and her friends in Hong Kong. And then it hit me like a bolt of lightning. It struck me, and I realized something, that it's been a while since I see my mother going out. You see, when you actually look at a group of teenagers, right? And if they hung out, if they don't talk about school stuff, they like to talk about their parents too. You know, my mother is the worst. Your mother is the worst. You should look at my mother. Your mom, my dad is the worst. It's kind of like a competition whose parents are oppressing them the most. So it's really odd. And then I realized one thing when I was in that bathroom. I realized that we keep on talking that our freedom is at stake. Have we ever not actually maybe affect theirs too? That they cannot buy nice things, that they cannot travel any way they want to because they have us. I'm not trying to make everybody feel guilty here, but merely to have us to think. Because my parents think. My mother thinks when she wants to hang out with her friends, she didn't, because she'd rather bring her kids from school, Chinese class, tuitions, and then church because she wants her kids to be better than she ever was. My father thinks when he wants to buy a nice pair of shoes and a watch, he didn't, because he'd rather use that money to make sure that his children's interests are being pursued and they can go to school, because my dad didn't go to college. My parents think when they want to travel around the world, Paris, Milan, Rome, they didn't, because they'd rather be at home with their kids. So it's their money, it's their freedom to do it. It's their time, it's their hard work. But they choose not to. Immanuel Kant said that, Immanuel Kant is a German philosopher. He taught the concept of perpetual peace in terms of democratic and republic, but that's not what I'm talking about. I want to talk about his idea of freedom. According to him, freedom is obedience to a law that I created myself. It is therefore respect its commitment to compliance with oneself. So let's focus on the word commitment to compliance with oneself. My parents should have committed to their own self. It's their own body, it's their own needs, so they should have done that. But let's look at the first phrase. Obedience to a law that I created for myself. So they created their own law. A law that they believe that these children are the reasons for me to be here. And that's my freedom. That's their own freedom now. And the basic definitions of that is that if my children are happy, I'm good. I'm happy. And that's all that matters. And yet, my parents didn't even have the basic freedom of expressing themselves. They don't. My mother, for 20 years, she has never shed a tear in front of me. I've never seen her cry before. My father is the toughest man I know, and his co-workers respect him, and some even fear the man. But when I moved out of the house for the first time, he sat me down with his whole family surrounding us, and he said this: "You are my Boru Panggoran." It's Indonesian term for which means my first female child. And I'm letting you go. Which is really funny coming from a man who wants a son instead of a daughter, you see? He wants a son instead. So our parents, they don't have the freedom to express their emotions because they have this mindset, you see. I am a parent. I need to be strong for my kids. Because I'm the first two people these guys are gonna see. If I don't set a bar, if I'm not the role model they're looking for, then who are they gonna look up to? So we either gonna be like them or better. I'm assuming better because that's what every parents wish us to be. So we like to talk about freedom, but we completely forgot about them. And right now, as we speak, my mother and my father are somewhere around the world. And I'm really happy for them because now my brother and my sister can drive, they can go to school on their own, which is super great. And some people actually criticize my mother for going out a lot because they said mothers should stay home and look after their children. Honey, I say no. Mom, you go out as many times as you want. Have fun because you've committed that many years for me, and I think that was enough. So let me tell you this one thing. Having children are a choice, a big, risky choice, which comes with rewards and also consequences. Your parents and mine, they sacrifice that freedom to have that choice. And not only that they sacrifice it, they change the mindset of that freedom to have us. So the freedom is equal choice now. Freedom is their own children. And if you go home tonight and you start asking your parents, do you regret having me? Oh honey, of all the best, of all the things the world can give you, you are the best one yet. Thank you.